Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're reviewing Rome Pathway to Power. What a game.
Pushing Up Roses.
God? Is that you? Cause I can explain that soft porn adventure thing. That wasn't my idea.
What? No, this is your room. Normally I wouldn't interrupt one of your mediocre video game reviews, but I cannot allow you to review Rome Pathway to Power. I demand you review The Cave.
Oh, really? Okay. The Cave is a platform adventure game from adventure game veterans Ron Gilbert and Double Fine Studios and published by Sega. Now, this game is receiving extremely mixed reviews, and it's not really hard to understand why certain people would have nitpicks about it and why others would find it highly enjoyable. I'd like to think I have a pretty rich experience with adventure games, so I have come up with my own reasons on this one as to why I enjoyed it. Sure, I have my own nitpicks with the game, but who doesn't? Nobody can be expected to like every single element about every single game, otherwise the world of gaming wouldn't be as diverse and as special as it is. Start the game up and you find out the cave is not just a cave, but a personified and seemingly omniscient chasm with a goofy yet sometimes morose sense of humor.
That's me, the cave. Yes, I'm a talking cave. Don't laugh. It makes dating hell.
That's actually one of my favorite aspects of the game, as it's reminiscent of some of the humor from LucasArts games of the past. Yet, you can't go into this game thinking it's going to be the next Monkey Island or the next Maniac Mansion, because it's obviously different and a lot more platform heavy than inventory-based games of old. After the cave introduces itself, you get to choose your characters. Since I never read the directions on how to play a game, I spent the first few minutes making my character bounce around for my own personal amusement. Eventually, I chose my party. I played this game co-op style with a friend, so we chose our party together. I absolutely had to choose the scientist computer hacker, cause, well, she kinda looks like me.
The scientist. She is on the cusp of a great discovery for all of humankind, and 100 million lives hang in the balance.
I also chose the adventurer, and my partner chose the monk, much to my dismay. I wanted the time traveler, but I guess my partner just couldn't resist his bald hairstyle. The game borrows a lot of concepts from Maniac Mansion, particularly choosing your party. Some reviewers claim that the cave lacks character development and backstories, and even dialogue. But when I look back at Maniac Mansion, which is held in high regard, the characters from that game never had a backstory either, though nobody ever seems to nitpick about that. I don't think the game's characters necessarily need backstories to be enjoyable. Besides, I like to have my own backstory that involves the monk, the adventurer, and the scientist in some weird love triangle. Now that's using the old noggin. Much like Maniac Mansion, you choose a party of 3 to help you move along the story. Though they don't have backstories, they do get their own levels. My favorite level is the scientist level because I'm quite attracted to anything that involves hacking. As you move along in the game, you realize that these characters are kinda jerks. They either want to do something or obtain something for self-centered reasons. But despite the dark humor in the game, it's actually filled with adorable things. This is cute. This is cute. This is cute. Holy sh**. I definitely appreciate some of the absurd humor the cave ejects every now and then. For example, he claims that there's no dying in the cave.
Like I said, there's no dying in the cave.
Yet, what's this? What's this, the cave? Seems like death is all around us to me. I really like some of the character interaction too. Oh look, this guy looks like he's my friend.
Give me a moment to disable these blasted spikes.
Maybe he wants this ancient sarcophagus. Oh. Oops. Oh hey, here's my little monkey friend. Let's just put him in a giant nuke.
Guidance system installed.
Yeah, that seemed like a good idea. It was for science. Speaking of interaction, playing co-op in this game is an absolute must. In fact, I can't say with certainty that I would have enjoyed controlling 3 characters by myself as opposed to having a real-life friend sitting right next to me helping me out. After the initial making our characters splash in a puddle together sequence, we found ourselves having a great time playing together. This is something I wished Maniac Mansion had, a way to control all 3 characters with the assistance of somebody else. Admittedly, the idea of controlling 3 characters in Maniac Mansion really stressed me out. I mean, I can barely control my own life. I don't don't even remember what I had for breakfast this morning. What am I supposed to do with these guys? I mean, I had to tell Razor to go help the green tentacle, then have Bernard go fix something, and then there's Dave, who did a great job holding the brick. Which is why co-op, in my personal opinion, is the way to go. A lot of people stress over the tedious levels where there's a lot of ladders and backtracking. Being a long-time adventure gamer, I'm fairly used to laborious backtracking, but I can see why others find some of the puzzles a little frustrating. If you play this game with a friend, it takes away some of the edge of the monotonous ladder and rope climbing puzzles, because you can joke with each other and just mess around with your characters, making for a really fun social experience. I played this game with a platformer gaming fan, so we complemented each other well. I helped him with the puzzles and he helped me with the platforming aspects. I do admit some of the platforming gets redundant, but it wasn't enough to stop me from having an enjoyable co-op experience. If I may, I now have a personal story to share with you. About 6 years ago, I was dating somebody and I really wanted to play an adventure game with him. He wasn't a big fan, but he decided to give it a try. Well, we ended up getting into this huge argument about who controls the character, and then he got bored and he ended up dumping me for an expert Halo player. I'm just kidding. I dumped him because he didn't know what Grim Fandango was. But this drives my point in. I've always wanted an adventure type game that I could play with someone else and have us both be active. The Cave does a good job of doing just that. Visually, I find the graphics stunning. I think the character designs are adorable. I think the backgrounds are lush and filled with what seem to be throwbacks to other games, like this grog machine that reminds me of Monkey Island. And no, you can't get your characters drunk. Trust me, I tried. Design-wise, I really appreciate some of the small things maybe other people wouldn't notice unless they really looked. For example, I really dig the climbing and running animations. I also really like the seamless transition for entering player-specific levels. Since every level starts with a fall into a pool of water, they don't have to block off areas that are for other characters. I think this idea is pretty brilliant because they didn't have to come up with some cheesy mechanism to lock you out of a level for a character you're not playing. For the seasoned adventure gamer, the puzzles may come across as too simple and the platforming aspects may come across as uninspiring, but the game as a whole was very much enjoyable for me personally. After the fall of adventure games in the late 90s, it's been very difficult to bring the genre back into the limelight, and I think the combination of platforming puzzles, object puzzles, and absurd humor works well here. Some players may be put off by the underlying dark stories for each character, then heavily contrasted by the goofy characters and the humor of the cave itself, but I think it's an interesting disparity. I never feel too bogged down by the melancholic storylines because they're interjected with quirky interactions with other characters. For me, it was a good balance, and made me yearn for those times where a new silly character was introduced. I acquired this game on Steam and played it co-op with a friend. I controlled my characters with a keyboard and he controlled his characters with the Xbox controller. I found that combination worked very well, and that's how I recommend other people play it if they choose to. The game is priced reasonably, so if you enjoyed any of the things I showed you in this review, then I highly recommend giving it a try, especially if you liked Maniac Mansion and you're a fan of co-op gameplay. It's important to understand that this game, though it has aspects similar to Maniac Mansion, is not Maniac Mansion or any other game designed in the past. It's something different, and I think it's worth playing through at least once to see if it's something that strikes your fancy. Personally, I enjoyed playing through The Cave, despite not being a big fan of platformers. If I had to give it a score, I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10, a good solid number. Got that grade on a physics test once, and I was pretty proud of myself. Hey everyone, thanks for watching my review of The Cave. If you want to see more gaming videos, you can subscribe to my channel or click on one of the annotations below. Thanks again.